Hey guys, welcome to the show. I'm Rantoinette. Hope everybody's doing okay. We've got a lot of news to go through today, and it's on top of a kind of a crappy week. I gotta say, most of the news coming out this week has been pretty demoralizing. So I appreciate you guys watching and going through all of this horribleness with me. If I could be a little self-serving, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. It helps me out tremendously in the old YouTube algorithmics. Okay, so let's get started. We got to talk about the big, beautiful bill, or the big bastardly bill, or the big bullshit bill, because that's what it is. This is all bullshit. And to show you how much bullshit it is, it passed in the middle of the night, after midnight, on Wednesday night. I guess that makes it Thursday morning, after Donald Trump went down to the Capitol to do a little grandstanding and then bitched and complained about Thomas Massie standing up against the bill and grandstanding. So I find that little bit of irony interesting. Of course, let's not get it twisted. Thomas Massie is not trying to stop this pain from happening in Congress. Thomas Massie is trying to inflict more pain. It's not harsh enough on the people, so he didn't want to pass the bill. He wants to do a hell of a lot more cutting, and he wants it to happen right. I want my cuts, and I want them right now. But, they had a cute little back and forth where Donald Trump said that his hair looked a little bit better than Rand Paul's, so he felt flattered about that. He was seen. He was recognized. He was seen. So anyway, I had to write down this list for the big, beautiful bill. God damn, it is absolutely disturbing. All right, so we got $4.5 trillion of tax cuts over the next 10 years. And I want you guys to keep this in mind, that the top 10 wealthiest people in America just in the last 12 months received $365 billion more dollars in 12 months. So the top 10 guys, the ones that you saw at at the inauguration, all standing there, applauding sycophantically, ready to bootlick at the inauguration. Of course, right before Elon Musk threw his Sig Heils, but they, in the last 12 months, have made $365 billion more dollars. So good for them. But now they're going to get a little bit more because of these wonderful tax cuts. But let's go through the list of all of the cuts that are going to affect you, me, and every other person in America. Mostly the unfortunately poor folk. They're going to get hit the hardest. $300 billion cut to SNAP. It is the largest SNAP cut in history. SNAP, of course, is food stamps. $500 billion in a Medicare cut. I'll get to that later because, there's $800 billion in Medicaid. So $500 billion in Medicare, which will happen later on down the road, but $800 billion in Medicaid cuts. $358 billion cut from Obamacare. And this is going to add $3 trillion to the deficit, and $20 trillion with a T adding to the debt. And of course, Republicans, where you at? I guess you guys were all you're deficit hawks, and you're all about the we've got to cut the debt. It's just ridiculous. And apparently it's $37 trillion. We'll add $20 trillion to that. That makes $57 trillion to our debt. Yeah, how do you feel about that? Oh, you don't really care about that? Oh, that's somebody else's problem down the road. Sure, I got you. They've added work requirements for Medicaid and for food assistance, so the SNAP and the and the Medicaid. And if you are making over, I believe it's over $16,000 a year, as if you could live on $16,000 a year. But if you're making more than that and you're on Medicaid, you're going to have some work requirements. But of course, people are already working. They're already working. $46 billion for the border wall. This is going to eliminate taxes on gun silencers. I didn't know that that was an issue, but good for you, you ammosexuals out there. It ends Planned Parenthood funding altogether. That's it. No more Planned Parenthood. So that's great. $25 billion for the Golden Dome. It extends drilling and mining and logging on public lands. So I guess they're going to sink a well at the Grand Canyon or somewhere in Yosemite. And it raises the estate tax exemption from $11 million to $15 million. So just in case the $11 million estate tax giveaway free, tax-free to your kids wasn't enough, now it's 15, and that's per person. So, if you're married and you want to leave your child some money when you die, tax-free, you can leave up to $30 million to your kid with no taxes. That's you and me, right? That's the common, everyday, ordinary person. We all have estates. So, that's a good benefit for us. It is going to, and this is the fun stuff. This is the great stuff. It's going to knock off about anywhere between 9 to 13 million people off of Medicaid. And like I said, it is the largest SNAP cut in history. And when you cut Medicaid, this is something that most people don't take into consideration. A lot of small rural hospitals, they need people to have Medicaid because that is where they get their funding to, to keep above board. They're already running on the margins, these small hospitals. I come from a very small town, and that hospital closed, I believe, under Trump, if I'm not mistaken, in his first term. So we're just going to be seeing a lot more of that. They estimate somewhere between 300 to 700 rural hospitals are closing. So coming to a neighborhood near you, that's going to be a wonderful, I guess I was going to say addition, but subtraction from your neighborhood. And yet again, another thing to take into consideration, when those things close down, it causes people that live in those small towns to leave, and small colleges are going to be hit by this as well. And when people move away, that means that the small businesses that are in those small rural areas, they're not going to have enough people to employ, to run their businesses because they've all left town to go find jobs elsewhere. People are always complaining about small towns turning into ghost towns. Well, this is just ushering it in a lot faster. So yeah, not great. Also, I've been looking at quite a few interesting little graphs that are describing who is going to get the tax cuts and who's not. The way we've set it up is we've got 5 quintiles, the bottom 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, and 80 to the top percentage. And then, of course, they divide that even more into the top 0.1%. And those guys, ooh, they're happy campers. They're happy campers. The first quintile is from 0 to 17 grand a year. Those people will effectively be paying $1,000 more in taxes with the Medicare cuts, the SNAP cuts, and you're just going to get subtracted from your payroll tax. You're going to be losing about $1,000 a year, as if you had enough. 17 grand. That's you're living high on the hog over there. Then 17 grand to 51 grand is the next quintile. That's pretty much where most people reside, working class people earning anywhere between, 17 to 51 grand a year. That's, for the most part, that is the majority of America, and you're going to be paying $750 more a year. Now you add in the the new trade war that we have and the cost of everything going up, and you're going to be taking in less revenue. So that's going to be a sad day. That's going to be really difficult. Yeah. Oh yeah, they're taking away the whole filing free thing that we used to be able to do, file our taxes free. No. They want you to go through H&R Block or TurboTax. They want you to pay for that. So wonderful. And the top percentage, those are the people that make over $4 million a year. That's the top 0.1%. They are going to be having a savings of $385,000 a year in taxes. So everybody else is paying $750, a grand more in taxes. And then the wealthiest among us, the uber wealthy, the rich elite that we all hate, right? Donald Trump hates the rich elite. They are going to be getting a big old tax cut, just like they did in 2017 when Donald Trump did it before, but this time it's even bigger. So the big, beautiful bill, the big, devastating, dastardly bill is going to be wonderful. And just to add a little, button on the end of this, they have front loaded all of these tax cuts. So the tax cuts are going to be coming immediately for the wealthy. And all of the cuts from Medicare, food stamps, what have you, those are all backloaded on the back end. They are going to start taking effect around 2028 when supposedly, if we have free and fair elections, a Democrat will probably take over. And what happens? Everybody in America is going to see all these cuts hit, and they're going to immediately start blaming the Democrats for it. It's a cute little adjunct, a cute little ploy that the Republicans have done. They get their tax cuts immediately, but the cuts to your social safety net, they happen a few years from now. So nobody's going to feel we're going to be feeling the pain of all the tariffs and the cost of that, but nobody's going to be really feeling the pain of those massive social safety net cuts until 2028 when the Democrats take over, and they'll just all get blamed to that. We got $1.1 trillion annual budget for the military. So everybody's getting paid on that end. And let's not forget with the tariffs, and this bill is actually causing, places like Moody's to degrade our credit rating from AAA to AA1. And that right there is a signifier because people are not buying treasury bonds. I've said it before, I'll say it again. In times of economic crisis, generally speaking, people, not just Americans, but people worldwide will buy into the American dollar because of its stability. Well, the fact that we are not stable right now and that Donald Trump changes his mind on tariffs every 5 fucking minutes, people are not buying treasury bonds. They just had a big sale for treasury bonds and they weren't selling. People weren't buying them. People are running elsewhere. People are buying gold now. I believe if I heard this correctly, they sell 1 ounce gold bars in Walmart and in Costco. Apparently Costco's been doing it for a long time, but Walmart has just started that. And they have a limit on the amount of gold ounces that you can buy at Costco. I think they're just limiting it 1 ounce per person. I don't know if that's like on the daily, but the cost, the value of gold has gone up, I believe, from don't quote me on this, but I think it went from $2,800 an ounce to like $3,300 an ounce just in the last couple of months. So that seems to be where people are putting their money, and it's not in treasury bonds. So the world is running away from the American dollar. We are spending money like it's going out of style, and the big cuts are coming. And here's the last little bit, the one that's going to really suck that I mentioned earlier. The $500 billion cut to Medicare. everybody's been talking that they're cutting Medicaid, and that's right. But the big cut to Medicare is going to come due to the fact that Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama came up with this idea of pay-go, meaning, if you don't have the money, you can't pay for it, you can't implement it. Well, this is going to trigger cuts, automatic cuts to Medicare when the bill comes due in 2028, when those big cuts come in. And the fact that tax cuts are happening right now, and we're not going to have a balanced budget. Balanced budget. Republicans never balance the budget. All they do is cut taxes and spend. But when that happens, it's going to trigger an automatic cut to Medicare. So Republicans don't even have to actively cut Medicare. It's just going to happen on its own. So we got a lot of really horrible shit to look forward to. But hey, man, the top 10 richest guys just earned $365 billion. 365. So 365 days in a year, 365 billion. That means that these top 10 guys, the Bezoses, the Musk, the Zuckerbergs, the Google guy, they made $1 billion a day over the last year. Fuck. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.